The Floor Academy podcast is sponsored by Trelama, the trade labor marketplace, where businesses can find skilled trade labor, such as flooring installers, and where flooring installers and other skilled tradespeople can find permanent or project work. You can set up your profile at trelama.com, TRALAMA.com, or download the app from the Apple App Store or Google Play. And remember, Trelama is always free for skilled tradespeople. Welcome to the Floor Academy podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Hedin, owner of Illustrious Hardwoods in Phoenix, Arizona. We're here to talk with flooring professionals from all over the country about the issues that matter to you. I want to encourage you to learn while you earn. This week's guest is Katie Marcotte. Katie owns and operates Maine Modern Tile with her partner Eric in Otisfield, Maine. Growing up, she was encouraged to be what she wanted to be. This included learning trades from close relatives while still being encouraged to have a feminine side as well. Of course, being well-rounded in some areas doesn't mean we don't have struggles elsewhere. Listen in as Katie and I talk about her struggles with school, addiction, and trying to keep a healthy work-life balance while still being profitable. Katie Marcotte, are you on the line?
I am, sir. How are you?
I'm good. Welcome to the Floor Academy podcast.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Good. Always nice to hear. You know, it's a weird thing that people are excited to talk to me when I started out trying to get people to talk to me. So, and I was excited to talk to them. So I'm definitely excited too, but it's always it's an interesting thing to like people reach out and they're like, oh my gosh, you want me on your podcast? I'm like, I'm just Kyle. Like there's nothing going on here. It's not a big deal. I promise.
You are a big deal. What are you talking about?
Somebody needed to do it. So now we're all benefiting from learning from each other. It's an awesome experience on both sides, I think. So it's fun.
Oh, I'm sure glad you're doing it because I've learned a ton about business. So
excellent. That's the mission, right? We all get a little bit better and we become a little more profitable and we help change the industry from the bottom up.
Let's do it.
Okay.
I'm trying.
All right. So we have some interesting things to talk about, I think. We talked online a little bit. We put some stuff together. But why don't we start with, who you are, why you are, where you are, all that fun stuff,
Okay. Well, my name is Katie Marcotte. I'm co-owner of a tile and flooring installation company here in Otisfield, Maine. I grew up here with most of my family being in the trades in one facet or another. Most of the men in my life, I was hooked to them like glue. I was never a sit around and do nothing type of kid, so I definitely wanted to be under my grandfather's feet cooking in the kitchen or doing construction with my dad or plumbing with my stepdad. And the women in my life were just super loving and supportive, so I've been super lucky in that respect. But that's about it for who I am and what I am today.
Okay. Well, what's the name of the company? Let's get that out there.
Maine Modern Tile.
Okay. And let's see. Okay. So growing up, you had exposure to trades and you had some very supportive women in your life that encouraged you to, it sounds like, to do what you wanted to do. So is there obviously you're out co-owner of a tile and flooring business, and that's a little more tomboyish. Is there a big feminine side? Is there like a girly, like I'm going to do my nail side of things to you as well? Or did that not exist?
Oh no, absolutely. I was lucky too. Like my dad is the one that taught me how to build, and he's also the one that taught me how to sew. Like he made a teddy bear with me. I remember
awesome.
he had to correct my mom sewing up. She was making pants for my brother, and she was trying to sew straight up the crotch. And I remember them having like this heated debate. He's like, "That is not going to work. That's not how patterns work." And it's so he kind of actually like also made it okay. Like anybody can be anything. Like
Mm-hmm.
there are no
Mm-hmm.
men or women things. But yes, definitely when Eric and I go out to the conferences and stuff, I definitely am not wearing my work clothes. I get my nails done. I really enjoy being a girl in the situations where I can be.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the rest of the time I can't have nails, basically. I don't want to rip them off or anything, but
Yeah. No, I mean, it makes sense. I think it's awesome when there's like a well encouraged balance. Like, just because you're a girl, you don't have to be this super girly girl all the time. And not that there's anything wrong with that. Like, if that's who you want to be and you're comfortable being. But I think it's really cool when there's that family dynamic that can encourage you to like be this well-rounded individual, and it's okay to veer one way or the other and have exposure and experience with those things.
I'm just so happy you called me well-rounded.
Oh. Is there
Yeah,
is there something that else that is this not something that you would be with with that kind of upbringing? Am,
oh well, it's definitely, and I think this is kind of leads into something we were, going to talk about anyways, is I had a lot of struggles in school.
okay.
Um, I was not diagnosed with anything as a kid, but I was always behind, really, really struggled. Even though, my relatives and all my aunts and uncles said you were always such a bright kid, but in school, doing the work was just extremely, extremely hard for me.
Mm-hmm.
And coming up through, it became such a problem. I didn't have a lot of friends even in elementary school. I was weird. I was an odd kid, like hard on my sleeve. I remember telling people I got this sweater from Salvation Army, and then started getting teased, and like I don't know, I was just maybe behind even a little bit socially. And then, being harder for me to learn
Mm-hmm.
really made me feel very odd for a long time.
So,
And then kind of, whoop,
well, I was gonna
go
say,
ahead.
so do you have a diagnosis now?
I do. After um, I guess what would you call it? A full on mental breakdown about, I don't know now, it's around 2012, I believe. Yes, I went into the hospital. Just was ready to, end it all. I just thought that there was something
Mm,
inherently wrong with me, just failing at life completely in every way possible as a mom, everything.
mm-hmm.
And I was sure, because I have a family history of some pretty severe mental illness, like paranoid schizophrenics and like real heavy stuff. So I thought, I'm bipolar. They're just going to tell me I'm absolutely nuts. And I can remember three or four different doctors were all very positive that I had one of the most severe cases of adult ADHD that they had ever seen. They were like, "Kate, there's nothing there's nothing wrong with you. You are doing so many things at once and being so hard on yourself." They're like, "You just need some tools and organization.
Mm,
You just really need some, basically not even medication as much as just tools to learn how to deal with the way your brain is working,
mm-hmm.
firing and not firing."
Okay. And so is that why school was difficult because you didn't want to hyper focus on school, I'm assuming. And so that made it more difficult because the work wasn't interesting enough, whereas you could go do something else that seemed more interesting at the time.
Absolutely. I can remember sitting in, I was never super hyperactive per se, like you'd see a young boy, but I can remember telling myself, because I was a very good kid, I was never disruptive, but I can remember being like, "Okay, Katie, you are going to hear everything the teacher says after recess." Like this, I'd get 3 minutes into class and I'd be staring out the window, and I was like, "Oh my, did it, like, I have no idea I don't even know what subject we're on." And that was my whole school career.
Hmm.
Like I just missed everything that just happened. Where did I go?
Now, okay. So let's. Uh, you mentioned that you like bounced around the trades for a while, and now you've like settled into this tile thing. So let's. Can we? I don't know where I want to go. Like I kind of. I is there a way that this plays into like your breakdown in 2012, like how you kind of bounced around from thing to thing? Does this all go together, or are they two separate things?
No, I do think that it goes together. I think that I have come full circle, and it started before 2012, probably when I had my daughter. Oddly enough, after I had her, her biological father is a drug addict, and he didn't bring much to the table. The house is mine, vehicles, everything, and as stupid as it sounds, it got to a point where, like, you know what, half of that cocaine you just bought, that is mine. Like, I'm gonna get something. I don't even know how anyone could be that stupid, but I guess I would say it can happen to anybody, because I grew up, like I say, total support and everything. So for the first 3 or 4 months of her life, I was not any kind of mom or anything.
Mm-hmm.
That ended very badly and violently. And finally, got him out of my life. I moved back in with my dad and just left my house, actually, for like 8 years. Um, Moved back in with my dad. He's always been there to help raise my daughter and everything. But, I actually thought I met the right person for me after that. And my career kind of slid into a screeching halt when I hurt my back, and then went into like an office job into social services. And I think the pressure from trying to take care of other people and everything, and remain clean from drugs and everything,
Mm-hmm.
was a whole lot of pressure. And this guy that I was with that had 2 kids, I was trying my best to take care of them and make sure they had basic needs met. And their mom died in a tragic crash, and he just cut me off immediately after their mother died.
Mm.
And that's how I ended up in the hospital. So I was really kind of a broken mess. My daughter was heartbroken without the contact with the kids that she had.
Yeah. No, that's
Yeah,
got to be
I know
rough.
this is like a crazy follow my brain with me. I'm sorry,
No, you're
but
you're good, because I think, look, there's people may not have had these exact same experiences, right? But this goes into stuff that I was talking about recently on in the Floor Academy group, and I like had my big like I had my big whiny fest, right? Like, oh, I'm so depressed, and like I this project has me all screwed up mentally, and I want to shut down my company. Like, these are real things that we face, everybody. Like, we have life takes a toll on you, and I think we need to hear this. Like, these are the stories that need to be told, because these are the stories that everybody, like, when you're asked, hey, how you doing today? You're gonna say, I'm good. No, you're not. Tell me you feel down. Like, let's get real with each other and support each other and build each other up and help each other through these times, because I can't help you if I don't know something's wrong.
right,
And
exactly. I think
so no, go ahead.
just I know a lot of people in the trades um, actually have definitely. I, I grew up in a family where, first of all, ADHD was just bad behavior. It's not really a thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bull crap diagnosis. It's not real. You know, whatever. So even in my mind, it was hard to accept. But the more I've learned about it, and you know, learned how to deal with the tools to keep me more organized and everything, it's so real. It is. And I know, not to get too much into statistics, but it's a 4% of our adult population, and less than 20% of adults with ADHD have even been diagnosed, and only a quarter of them even get help. So
Hmm.
I see a lot of guys in a lot of the groups that I really feel like, they're just down on themselves about how horrible they are at keeping up with their business. And I can't help but wonder how many of them are like me that really just need that physical exhaustion to even be able to be in your own skin. But then that part is so super hard. It's not that anybody can't do the business side, but it really is extremely hard for some people.
Hmm.
The whole executive function thing, like it really is missing in some people.
Yeah, no,
You
it's
know,
tough. It is hard. It's hard to know the numbers. It's hard to want to sit down and bust out the invoices and see if you're being profitable. Like it takes a special person, but it takes a special person to be able to install a floor well. It's going to take a special person that wants to get in the trades to begin with, to be passionate about what we do. Like it's very strange that we sit there and get excited about wanting to go spend a day on our knees putting a floor in. Like that's not,
right?
I don't know, that it's not normal in my mind. Like yes, let me go abuse my body to make other people happy, but at the end of the day, like that's why I do it, is I like seeing the smile on people's faces when they see their new floor. So
Right. They better
but
be
it's
happy.
just yes, that's for sure. But it's it's I would love. There's a lot of people running businesses that shouldn't be running businesses, and I would love to see people come together and pay appropriately, charge appropriately, and help these people that aren't necessarily so great at running their businesses get a good shot at a good life because somebody else is better with the numbers and the sales.
Oh,
There's
absolutely.
ways for us to partner up and make this work, but until it's going to take time. And so those conversations need to happen and exist. And, but the problem is people see they're being taken advantage of, right? And they just see the big check. They see that you get handed the $10,000 check at the end of the week or the end of the 2 weeks or whatever it's going to be, right? Like you put in a shower, you did a little bit of a floor, you put in a new vanity, and here's this $10,000 check. Well, great. How much of that has to
Exactly.
be taxes? How much of that is your pay? How much of that was for materials? Like my check isn't necessarily as big as you think it is, but that doesn't mean that I can't still take care of you properly and give you a good life. So you're right. Like it not everyone has the skills to do it, but even if you want to try, like you've found coping mechanisms and you've found ways to be.
It's all about a support system, and that support system can be, my family. For me, it's my Eric. I met him shortly before we started our flooring business.
Mhm.
We were still a very new couple when we started this, when we signed up to be together 24/7, 365. God love him. And he truly is my external memory card. That's what I tell people. And he's my he's my right arm, um, definitely. But even if you don't have a support system, I definitely think you can still get the support, as you said, from these groups. You don't have to be the best at math really to have somebody helping you out, and really taking the time, because there's
Mhm.
70 or 80 people answering your questions. So even if you're that type that has a learning disability, people are posing the same questions, and those questions are being answered 70 different ways, every other day. And some people get irritated by that.
Correct.
Some people really need that help. And there's nothing wrong with that. Some people just need to hear it more times. Everybody's capable of learning, but sometimes, that's just learning disabilities, really.
I will, and that's just life. You have to, the first step is being open to learning. You can't stop wanting to learn, otherwise you're stuck. So
Hmm.
that's the biggest problem I see a lot of the times is people are just like, nope, it's been 20 years. This is the way it is. No, it's not. Open your
Oh God.
mind. There's another way. So it's
Yeah, I have no patience for that, honestly. Like, whatever. Yeah, you're just probably right. I wouldn't even bother with people like that. Good for you. Carry on. Carry
Exactly.
on.
When you're ready to have a conversation, I'm right here. I'm not gonna fight down that. I'm not gonna break down that wall. It's not good. I want to ask. So there's been some addiction issues, which does tend to run in the trades. It happens quite frequently, whether it's alcohol or drugs, and it has to do with how we're paid and cash under the table, and our bodies hurt, and we get broken down. And did you feel you functioned better that way? And congratulations on being clean. Like, I don't want to bring up bad memories, but it's like, did you feel that you could function better while you were, you know,
Honestly, I traded some pot for a script of Adderall when I was like 25,
okay,
and I was the most productive that I have been. Like, that was probably the best month of my entire life. I choose not to have any medications now. Like,
okay,
I can't remember to take them. That's a funny thing about this. Like, it just seems pointless to me to be on it for a month and come off and crash. And I'd just rather be struggling Katie, more of a baseline, like
okay.
I can't handle the being on and off. But so as far as, I mean, I know that's a legally prescribed drug, but I certainly did not get it that way.
Hmm.
Other than that, no, they have not ever helped me one bit. I recently, was it Anthony? I'm bad with names, but he started a group about mind and body and soul
Oh,
in the
Andy.
trades.
Yeah, Andy McWilliams.
Uh,
Yes.
when he made that page, I quit drinking. Like, I woke up one morning with the worst hangover ever, like one you'd get in high school, just out of control,
Hmm.
bad one for not for someone my age and experience with drinking. And I quit then. So it's been, I think, almost 8 weeks since I've had a drink as
Congratulations.
well. Thank you. And I'm holding pretty tight to that because we have 3 teenagers that are watching, and the whole alcoholic jokes were becoming the norm in our house.
Hmm.
And I, I'm not one. We own our crap in our house, so I would
Yeah.
never tell the kids, like, don't say that about us, like, because it's true. So I know that they are, they're 14, and 16 right now, and they are damn good kids. Like, they work for us. They're way past most kids their age, for sure, without a doubt. And they don't need to see us drinking every day. That's not what I want for them at all. Not
Okay.
at all. So that's the
Has
driving force there, more than for myself even.
has that helped get you more focused? Was that something that you think was affecting your physiology and making it harder to keep the ADHD under control?
Um, I would say, yeah, gosh, anything, anything that is, trying to think. I guess I'd hate to say, but it's called self-medicating for a reason. And to fall
Hmm.
asleep at night and stuff, yeah, it's a lot easier to fall asleep if you just drink till you knock yourself out. I mean, it's way more of a struggle with ADHD being sober and unmedicated, way harder.
Hmm.
But with a clearer mind, I guess I just really have to stay in a very mindful state. Um, it's just exhausting. It's exhausting, completely exhausting mentally. Um, but that's the life. Some people, are in a wheelchair. Some people are deaf. Like, I'm not gonna cry a river because I have to work really hard not to be a weirdo and you know stop at red lights and such. I just have to definitely work hard and stay on planet Earth, and that has to be something that I am working at, and where most people don't have those problems, but I have
Hmm.
all my body parts working, so what am I going to complain about?
I get it. You gotta, be thankful for what you got and use it to your
Eh,
advantage. So how, on the flip side of things, right? Like, we're looking at this from like a completely downer perspective right now. Where are the benefits? How has it helped you? Because there's got to be advantages to, like, being able to go a million miles an hour all the time.
So, right. So I can, I think that it's, I don't want to throw around the word superpower, but I guess I will. I could, um, I can do a lot of things at once. I think I can multitask better than the average person. Like seeing the big picture is definitely not the problem. I can walk into. I heard Jason and the Flash talking about it on a chat last week about going in and seeing the job when you first go in and look at it. Where my mind races, I can then go home. I can see in pictures the entire thing and know exactly, okay, that one I'm going to set a ledger board and start the tile, the second row up, or this one, I'm definitely doing the floor first in this. So I can plan out an entire job almost from start to finish, just looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how to explain it. Like I definitely can, whenever there's any kind of problem, I usually can look at it from 3 or 4 different perspectives, like, well, we could fix it this way, or this way, where my partner, who's very analytical and he's very, like, I don't know, I'm missing the word.
Well, he's
He just
very
likes
like
to,
A to B to C. Like there's no like you can't curve your way around things, right? Like it's very straightforward, like
right.
cut
And
and dry.
I'm definitely the type of person that is, can see things from multiple points of view, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
for lack of better words. Um, I definitely, I can, I can write with both hands. Like I can sign a piece of paper and mirror image my signature both ways. So with both hands, I can write frontwards and backwards and everything.
Were you ditching
So
school a lot?
work, huh?
I said, were you ditching school a lot? Is that what happened here? You were forging parents' signatures, weren't you?
No, I just didn't know what was going on in class, so I was doodling. I was like, let me try writing backwards and upside down because I don't even know if we're in social studies or math right now.
My
I don't
goodness.
know what's going on. But I definitely tend to use both sides of my brain more than a typical person
Mm-hmm.
because my brain doesn't even know where to start or begin, where or start or end. So like with grinder work and just working with my hands, it is easier for me to pick up muscle memory tasks, I guess, where Eric can go in and see the layout and the next place he's like, oh no, the layout should be, you know, he just can see things more analytically,
Mm-hmm.
where I can watch him, cut a miter with the grinder or something. I'm like, how did you forget to hold the grinder for, like, you had it right on last time, where I couldn't figure out layout to save my life if I did it 100 times.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very different that way. We complement each other wonderfully.
Which is a big help. It's oh to have. Oh my gosh, my wife is actually in the room, but she would admit to it, in that we could not work together. Like it just we're not gonna vibe that way. It's just not gonna happen. But to have somebody that you work with all day, and then you got to go home at night, and you're still trying to do it. But I guess if that like if
You
if
have
if you're essentially each 4 cylinders of a V8 engine, right, and like you each play your role on your side of the engine, then yes, it's going to go a lot more smoothly.
you don't even know how absolutely nuts we are. Like after we work all day together, several times this week I had to run out and get gas or pick up a kid or something from practice. And once Eric had to go, the other time I had to go, and he's like, I'll just ride with you. Like we seriously, on purpose, choose to spend even more time with each other. It's
That's
like he's
awesome.
probably just afraid I'm going to run red lights or something and kill the kids. Maybe that's what it is. It could
Well,
be. It's like you need a co-pilot. You should not be allowed to do anything on your
oh
own.
man,
No.
I doubt that's it. He could just genuinely like you, which would be amazing.
Right? That has never happened before, so it's not the first thing I think of, but no,
No,
it's it's funny. Apparently, he definitely gets sick
Well,
of me though, especially with my OCD on jobs.
well, but you two aren't the only two. You can go back and oh man, they're gonna be mad at me. Little tile guy. What's his name? It's like B and I don't. I got an episode with him, and now I feel like a
Yeah,
jerk because I can't remember. But it's called I work with my wife or something like I work with my spouse. I don't remember what I put. But they're
that was
like
a
the
great
cute. They're
episode.
like the cutest young couple ever. Like it's but it sounds very similar. It's you guys can you just some people can make it work, and I know there's other couples out there like that. So
I think it's just communication because we bicker a lot. We find the stupidest things to bicker about, but I think humor, like I am, I might be really blunt, but some of the stuff that comes out of my mouth is typically funny. I'm really good at making people upset with me, but God also gave me the gift of being funny so that people can't stay mad at me. And so I play that card a lot. If I've irritated him too much, I'll just, and most of it is surrounding owning my stuff with little dash of own your stuff, little dash of humor, and then maybe just the cutesy eyes and hope that he laughs.
hey, whatever you gotta use those feminine wiles somehow, right?
Right.
Bat your eyes a little bit. Hey, look, I'm cute. Look at me. My daughter instinctively knew it. No one taught it to her. She knew instinctively from a young age. Like if I look at daddy this way and I bat my eyes at him, he'll melt and do whatever I want. And it's great.
Oh, absolutely. They learn that they are girls very young. No doubt about it. I have a bunch of nieces. My daughter, same thing. I swear, 4 or 5 months old is when that starts. Like they are on it.
Yeah, that sounds about right. All right. Okay. So we have there's this past that's difficult to deal with. There's self medicating. It leads up to this breakdown, and so from there you get some tools to help yourself. You meet Eric. You guys start this tile and flooring company.
Yes, we started out the first day we were legally in business. We went down to Sherwin-Williams flooring store. There's one flooring store in Maine. A lot of people don't know that they have flooring stores. Nothing to do with paint. We went down there, and the guy, Chris Worth, who manages it, great guy, still love him. He said he's like, yeah, I got work for you guys. And we're like, cool. And he's like, we're like, oh, sweet. And we go to walk out because we don't know what the heck we're doing at all. And he hollers back to us. He goes, well, what are you looking for? Like 5 days a week or one or two? Like how many days a week do you want work? We're like, all of them. So we were the luckiest people on the planet. Literally the first day we were open, we had 5 days a week of work. But that was, flips of a nasty apartments and in Portland, Maine, trying to like paying parking tickets to park and, really hard stuff. Carpets up 3, 4 flights of stairs
Mm-hmm.
every day. Just really, really hard work for not as much money as you can get for tile.
Yeah.
So in December of this year, we gave up the flooring store and said, sorry, like we love you guys, but we are literally missing, $10,000 a month probably by staying here.
Yeah.
It's that was really hard to do, especially more so for Eric even because he's very much a people pleaser type personality.
Mm-hmm.
He's always was a good company man and stuff, but I'm like, yeah, but this is our company and I'm getting really tired. We both were starting to get injuries and stuff just from trying to do the super hard work of getting an apartment done in a day and stuff.
Yeah.
So here we are, a couple months later, and we are honestly booked out till Thanksgiving at least, probably into next year actually. 'Cause as we
Congratulations.
discussed off the phone, yeah, we got a lady that's willing to wait. So yeah, thank you. That terrifies me, actually.
Yes,
That I'm gonna
it is.
somehow screw it up. Um,
Oh
but
man.
it's it's still so much better than having to drive an hour just to pick up materials every day. We're working way closer to home.
Hmm.
Um, and you talk about for full circle. I think this is pretty cool. Right before my life really started going down the pooper, I got a job with a local company, a local high-end carpentry place. Found out I was pregnant like 2 days after I got hired, and I worked for them until I was like 8 or 9 months pregnant, I believe. And so right now, the job that we are on, we are doing their tile work for their high-end homes now. Like they didn't know it was even me. They just saw our work online and called up. So I thought that that was kind of cool. I had lost my job and was just trying to get through my pregnancy,
Hmm.
feeling like a total loser working for this like this single pregnant girl. And so it's really kind of neat to be working for them as my own company, like that I kind of made it back. I told Eric that. I'm like, how's that for full circle?
That's very cool. It's it's interesting in that you were in a desperate situation, and it worked out with you. These people helped you, right? They let you keep your job. They didn't fire you over anything. Like you were able to work through your
Right.
pregnancy with it. Like, but then you're able to come back years later and say like, look, you by the opportunity you gave me, like, look what I've been able to make. And they even
Yeah.
recognized the work. Like they didn't know it was you, but you were recognized
Right.
just by pictures of your work and hired on that, right? It wasn't like you were introduced or you ended up on a project and the GC said, "Look, these people are really good. We need to use them on these projects over here." Like that's very cool.
That is, isn't it? I just think I'm pretty proud of that. I'm proud. Most of our calls right now, not to brag, but I guess I'm bragging. Most of our calls now are people that said, "Yeah, we saw your work. We need a high
Hmm.
end tile person." And to be honest, I am far from the best tile person compared to the guys in the tile groups. But for my area, we definitely keep up.
Hmm.
I'll say, we definitely are putting some real value out there, and it's Eric and I there. It's not employees or helpers putting anything up or on. So, um, kind of following Paul Lucia's thing, like our warranties are um, for the life of that homeowner that's,
Hmm.
living there or
Hmm.
whatever. And I feel like we can do that. A lot of our deals are handshakes, and that's, could be unsafe, but I guess I'm just going by my ability to judge character and I guess how big the job is too.
Yeah.
If you are charging enough and you have a lady with $1,000 backsplash, then you know how much do you have to go after them for your deposit and your draws and all in a contract? I mean, I believe in karma. If somebody wants to honestly screw me over for $1,000, I really think that that's really a problem that they're going to have in the future.
Yes. No, I would agree.
I
It's
really feel that.
you're gonna. I'm the same way. I don't have a contract. I probably should. I do large enough jobs that I probably need to get a little something written up. I just haven't done it yet.
Hmm.
But
Same.
yeah, most of it is here's the estimate. It outlines the amount of work. So there's kind of a contract. Take a deposit on materials, pay for those, get paid for the labor on the back end, and
Right.
everything's good. Like it
Well,
generally works. I've had one situation where it's been really difficult.
I think that's important to note too. I think that what you just said about our scope of work, in my email with my prices or however, I make sure I do have everything in writing, right down to the things that we're going to do for them. As far as dust control, we're going to put, this on the counters and protect your counters and the
Hmm.
air scrubber, and like all of it is in there. So maybe I'm just being naive, but I really, really am careful to cover every base that I can think of and have it in writing, and they say, okay, that sounds good.
Yeah.
So I'm not totally unprotected just with just a handshake, but still, I'm sure that a smarter person than me, which wouldn't take much, could take advantage of that at some point.
I'm with you. There's a way of doing business that's very old school, more relaxed, right? It's just good old boys doing a handshake, and it's a nice way of doing business. There's also a modern way of doing business with having lawyers write up things, and there's nothing wrong with that way either. I totally understand both ways. You have to do what's
Right.
comfortable for you, and at some point, you know what? You're going to get burned, and you may adjust. But if you're charging enough, getting burned one time shouldn't kill you. It really shouldn't.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
I'm going into the contract world for this next job anyways. It's a 3-month job with, I think it's 7 or 8 showers, one of which is a steam shower,
Yeah.
and 1,000 square feet of flooring. So we're
Yeah.
talking too much money to not have a contract with that. So I do need to get on it very soon, like in the next couple
I would
weeks.
agree.
I probably that's gonna be my first contract for sure. That's not a handshake deal.
No, and there's got to be a written draw schedule on that, and there's more
I
to it than that. You know, I talked with a lawyer a couple years ago when I was first getting going, and they only wanted like $1,500 to write up a pretty much blank universal contract for me, and then I just fill in the details. So honestly, if you get one for 1,500, like it's not that expensive in the grand scheme of things, right? If you're in business for 10 years, it's 150 bucks a year for that, and you're going to use it how many times per job? Like that's nothing. It's pennies.
every single professional that you use for business, whether it's an accountant, bookkeeper, it doesn't matter, salesperson, it doesn't matter. You are looking for the person that pays for themselves anyway. And that's just one of those expenses that pays for itself. That's just the way it is.
I would agree. It's
Like
it's
if
gonna yeah.
if you have a bookkeeper that's costing you money, you have the wrong bookkeeper. It's not that you shouldn't hire a bookkeeper.
Yes. You have to you can't look at that as it's not an expense, it's an investment. Especially when you don't have the time to like do it, right? Like we were talking earlier before we started recording, and like the office is not necessarily a great place for you to be. But if it'll cost you, $100 a month to pay a bookkeeper, and you just send over the receipts and the invoices, and they make it all pretty in QuickBooks, and then you can say, hey, I want to see this report, this report, this report. Man, that's worth every bit of $100.
It's worth so much more than that to me. So you don't even know. Holy cow.
Yeah, no,
QuickBooks
I get it.
QuickBooks and I are not meant to be together.
I just don't want to deal with it. I don't want to think about it. I love paying my bookkeeper.
I've tried so hard to find people to trash that QuickBooks. Be like, there's got to be a better, easier one, and they're like, nope. They're like that's the easiest, Kate. Oh, good Lord.
Yeah, I don't even want to try. Like, I like numbers, but I don't like numbers that much. Somebody else can enter all that stuff. I'm going to go focus on selling the next project. And then I'll say, hey, let me see, double the hours on this, because that's how many hours my employee worked, which means I work just as many, and tell them, let me see a job cost for that project. Right. And they just push a button and it emails me what I want to see. And I can say, oh, okay, we need to raise prices here, lower prices here. It's so much easier when I can just get the numbers I want without doing the work. Let somebody that's really good at that stuff do that stuff. I don't even want to install floors because I'm only okay at it. There's other people that are better. Let me find them. I'll pay you. You go do the floors. Let me step back and point fingers and dictate and be a visionary, and we'll go from there, because that's what I enjoy doing. That's what's going to be the most fun for me. And if everyone's having fun, it's so much better. It's going to be a better environment. You're going to have more fun. It'll be great.
You're gonna get there too. We're gonna turn into poachers. Poach.
That was definitely another conversation. Everybody that's on the open job market, Katie and I have decided is probably not a good hire, and so we have to go poach employees. I'm not telling you to go to Bob's Tile down the street from you and steal his employees. But
No,
if
I'm going to the Holiday Inn.
you go to the Holiday Inn, go to the McDonald's, go, I don't care where you go to your trim store, do something. Find a kid, find that young kid that's showing up to work every day and go hire him to work for you.
Right, the hard workers. Man, I'd love to steal some carnies, but there's no fairs around right now. Those are the hard workers. You can't keep them though. They want their cash and they want to disappear again. So maybe that's not such a good idea.
Correct. Yeah, they want to travel. So don't do that. What have been you started this business, you were working for the store, and you've now, as of December of 2020, gone out on your own. What was the change? What was the mindset? Like, what were the struggles, or what finally made you realize, like, I can't sub anymore. I have to go and sell my own projects.
I think honestly I think that's about when I joined the Floor Academy and Tile Money, and just seeing these guys running their businesses and everything, and seeing the help that was being put out there, and thinking, man, I can't believe I'm bad at math, but like I said, I know I'm like 10 grand short a month probably staying where I'm at. And at what point do you owe a store? Like, they helped us a ton. They were our bread and butter for 6 full years.
Mm-hmm.
But at what point do you put yourself and your own goals ahead of, others that, I love them, but, are they going to be there to help pay for my kids' college? Like, when our knees blow out from kicking carpet and, hauling all that heavy stuff for 20 years and we have nothing in the bank, are they going to be there to wheel me into the nursing home? Or so it just came to a point where I came to it faster and really needed to convince Eric that, because he knows that it can be hard for me to follow through with things, but I'm like, we can do this for sure. Like, you're good with numbers. But to get him behind it was really all that we needed. Cause I kind of knew even a couple years ago that we needed to make this move, but we both really needed to be 100% on board for it to work right. Because I definitely need support, in life with some things. Like, there's probably nothing that I can really do as good without some definite support surrounding me.
Okay.
But that was it. Just knowing that we needed to look out for ourselves and maybe have a nest egg, be able to help our kids with school instead of, just making their lives nice right now and then worry about the future when it comes.
And I mean, what was that? There's so many people that sub, and for some people it works great. I get it. There's even some stores that pay really well. Not every store pays the same, okay? And so, like, you can make a healthy living through subbing, I think. There's definitely opportunities. I personally I like to be in control. I like to know what I'm walking into. I like to have that relationship with the client. I don't want to have to call this manager person if I have to make a change order. Like, there's just so many downsides to me that it drives me up a wall. And I got to be the boss. And at the end of the day, I have to be the boss. Like, that is the biggest thing for me. Like, I'm just not going to fit well as a cog in a system. I will need the grease, and the grease won't do anything for me, and I'll just break off and roll away. So
yeah, I think that's a lot of it for me too. There was no control. Now I can't, like, I hate doing click together flooring. I just really can't stand it. We still do it. Eric likes doing it and everything, but I can be more picky and choosy. Like, with this, I have more, because we didn't do any tile for the store. I wouldn't do tile because we couldn't even talk price on that.
Okay.
But I can choose what I'm going to put in. It's not thrown on, like, we didn't know what we were doing until we showed up that morning every day. So we have to carry every single tool we own in this van and just barely making kids practices. So the van is a huge pile every morning. It was so inherently disorganized. There was no time. You had to work so hard to even keep up. And then, like I said, you have everything with you that you could possibly need. Wood trim to, VCT glue, 17 glues in the van. And it really wasn't good for my emotional state. I don't transition well. Like you said, I need to have some control, and just knowing what I'm doing before I leave the house is helpful to me.
Was there any kind of, before you made this jump, was there any kind of like self-sabotaging to shut it down or decide that you guys should go a different direction and not do this anymore? Did you ever actively like get so down on yourself that you would, that's what I experienced recently when I was dealing with this Cali bamboo issue. I started self-sabotaging myself. Like I didn't do advertising, right? Like I wasn't, people would inquire through the phone and I just didn't have that same like pep to sell the project over the phone, right? Like it was all half-hearted and it was just, I was very down. And so I didn't care. So have you gone through times like that where like you get really down and you just self-sabotage your company, like trying to end it, even though it's the stupidest thing in the world?
Well, honestly, that's right now. That's me right now. I haven't put anything on my business Google page in, oh my God, I bet it's been at least a month. I definitely have been struggling with like, F it, let's shut it all down. Like we've started working for GCs, and instead of the store thing, now you're waiting, a GC is like, oh, well, they're behind by like a week. And then you get in there and they're like, when are you going to finish this tile? I'm like, well, I'm not going to finish it in 3 days. We came in 6 days late. So no, I can't stay with the original deadline, and like trying to, luckily everybody has been behind a couple weeks, so we haven't had to call anybody yet saying we're behind, but I still feel like I'm working for other people. So like you really nailed it on that, because lately I've just been like, oh my God, I'm just gonna stop posting pictures and videos. I'm gonna get rid of my phone number and go hide under a rock. But I think in the end, Kyle, or I see this going, is I want to get into real property. Like I don't know how else to have even more control over things as if I buy the house, redo the house, and send it on its way. And hopefully, I do realize though, I don't want to end Maine Modern Tile. We have a pretty good name. A lot of people know of us now, and even without my advertising, they're still calling. So I really need to stay with that, but there goes my, ADHD up till 2 a.m. I'm taking real estate courses and trying to learn every single thing about that. And I think that stuff keeps me grounded though, because I would get too bored and probably just say, F it. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm sick of it.
Yeah, I think you constantly have to be moving and learning new things and finding new interests, and like hobbies change. You evolve as a person. I think that's fine. I very much like the flooring world. I don't want to leave it. I was in a weird spot mentally, and I had to work my way through it. I also think it's part of growing a business. Like you're just gonna go through these ups and downs, and sometimes it's amazing and you absolutely love it. You couldn't think of anything else, and other times you get dragged down, and just running a business is stressful and it's hard, and you're like, oh, why do I do this? It's because it's new, right? And you have to figure out that new system. How am I going to manage all of this new stuff that I just created, because I continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger?
Well, right, that's the thing. Like I did everything they're saying, I'm listening to the Balin episode and everything, and he's teaching me how to do the social media and everything, and then all of a sudden, like this stuff starts working and the phone won't stop ringing. Like,
Uh-huh.
all you have to do is listen to these guys. And then it's like this thing is blown up so fast. And I was thinking there would be more downtime, like just like you said, like, holy crap, this stuff is working too well.
Yes. It's scary, right? But then you have to you adjust to it. And I know I every year like I have new problems. But I'm sure even in the 6 years working for the store, right? Like you continued to grow the business in some aspect, and there was times that it was stressful, and there's times it got a little bit easier. And like the best way I've ever
Absolutely.
felt to describe it to people is it's like your business starts off and you grow it, and it's kind of like you're walking up the hill. And it gets to this point where you feel like you're running up the tip of the mountain, but you're on a treadmill. Like you can't get to the top, but you can
Right.
just see over the tip, and you're like, oh, it's right there. There's that plateau. Like I get to like coast for a little bit. But it is the hardest like 3-4 months ever to keep everything going to get over that plateau. And then you finally like kind of get things in order. You figure it out. It lulls out for a little bit. And it's like a month, 2 months of like, you feel like you're kind of coasting, and then something new comes along and you're right back on that
Absolutely.
treadmill, and you're running up the tip of this mountain. You're just like, oh, I can see it. But how do I get there? Like, and it's never, I don't know if it's ever ending. I don't know if you could, once you develop the system, right? Like I say, I want to do like 5 to 10 million a year out of a store, have crews, employees, salespeople, all the whole 9 yards, right? If I maintain in that world, right? Like if I consistently do 7 million a year, can I ever get it to be like plateau all the time? Or is there always going to be this up and down and waviness, and like, that's what I haven't figured out.
For you, no, you're like me. You're gonna have to keep something fresh. You'll create something if there is nothing. Like we don't stay at the top of the mountains. That's too boring because there's other mountains. Like as soon as we get to the top of the mountain, we're like, hey, what's that mountain over there? That one looks greener.
Yes. But that's developing something else, and I'm okay with that. I'm wondering, can I get one thing to run consistently smooth? Like, is that a thing? I mean, that's the whole franchise model, right? Like, it's supposed to work that way. You have a system in place, and you just sell this system, and it should be fairly smooth. So,
I hope that there is. I really would like for there to be, because as I said, I definitely would like to. I guess I want to stay with tile for sure. The other floorings I'm not as excited about. To tell you the truth, I would rather stay in a higher end type thing here.
mm-hmm.
But just the change of an economy, a recession could really end tile in Maine almost completely. So
Nah.
kind of have to well, you don't think?
No. It's such a commodity item. Look, here's my thing, right? Like, okay, I live in Arizona, so no matter what, like, when there's a good economy, our economy like booms above it. When there's a recession, like we're under the like average for the country. But there's always people with money. You may have to adjust the business model, but like I know a ton of realtors. They know a ton of house flippers. I could be profitable doing cruddier work. I don't have to install to the standards that I install in to be successful. Right? Like,
Right.
So I can move a little faster if I cut some of the things I do out and still make money. I can lower my rates and still make money. So it's just a matter of, you got to be ready to pivot, I think. There's still going to be people that want tile. It's just, you're not going to sell them. You're not going to sell 24 by 36 or 24 by 48s or whatever it is, right? You're not going to be doing glamorous tile. You're going to go back to 18 by 18 slamming out flip properties.
Right.
Let's do it. Or you're going to be doing 12 by 24s all day, every day, just from Home Depot, right? They're going to be $1.50 a square foot. You're going to charge them $1.50 a square foot to put them down plus mortar. And you're going to slam it in. You're going to make sure there's the right coverage. Maybe you don't use a lippage system, but you're just going to slam it in. You're going to go to town and get it done. There's still money in it. It's just not ideal. And if that person with money in a down economy comes along and wants the nice stuff, you can do it. I think a lot of people just don't learn how to pivot when something bad happens, and that's why their business is shut down, is they're not able to find a way to be successful
I agree.
in
I
that
think
down
that's
economy. And you gotta suck it up. You can't sell high end stuff when people don't want to spend money. There's still going to be people that want it, just not as many.
right. Well, I hope if it comes to that I'm flipping the house.
But that's
Like
the
I'm the
goal,
one
right?
doing that. I hope that no, it honestly is like I would actually wouldn't be the saddest if house values, plummeted.
Me
Just
neither. I'm
just
counting
a
on it. In
little,
fact,
just a little bit.
I am counting on it. Because I'm trying to pay off my current home so I can start saving up for another one. And I don't want to pay what the current market value is. I can't get the home that I want for the price that I want, and it's very disappointing. I'm looking at having to buy a $750,000 home to get what I want. And
Yeah,
10
that's the
years,
latest thing.
like 5-10 years ago, it would have been $500K. And I'm much more comfortable with a $500K mortgage than I am with a $750,000 mortgage. So I am
Yeah,
hoping for a dip, but I can also see it as if you can pivot the business, right, and you can be profitable doing, it's not scummier work, but it's less enticing work, less thrilling work, right? But if you can still be profitable and you can pull money out of your business and the economy tanks, who's to say that you don't save up a quick 30K and go down to the auction at the courthouse steps and start bidding on a property and pick it up really cheap?
right. We're doing that on Friday. I don't think we'll get it because people are way overpaying right now. But yeah, we paid our house off last August.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And we pretty much haven't taken any days off since COVID started. So I'm looking to purchase, but man, they want a lot of money for nothing.
Yes, they
Even,
do.
I mean, I laugh. You'd laugh at the house prices here. I mean, we're talking, probably 200,000 here would be a, basic little 24 by 32 ranch or something. It's not crazy house prices like where you're at, but
No, I
still,
mean, we're
if
talking crazy price. So I don't know. My place is 1,100 square feet, 2 bedroom, 1.5 bath. One of them recently sold for 210.
yeah,
It's insane. Like it's absolutely, they're bonkers. No matter, I don't care what part of the country you're in. Like everybody's market is bonkers.
which is too bad, but that's part of that pivot, and it's part of you talk about the strengths that I have from bouncing around and everything. I ran heavy equipment for like 10 years at a recycling facility. My stepdad is a plumber, my brother's an electrician, my dad was a carpenter, so there
Mm-hmm.
isn't I know enough to be dangerous with just about everything, where I could size up a flip and
Yeah.
know the right people, and just been in the contractor world. And then like you said, with the recession, we learned how to do just about every type of flooring with the flooring store. So even if there is no tile, I can do sheet vinyls. I can do things that
Yeah.
there really aren't people around that can do anymore because of that crappy work at the store. So hopefully, like you said, I'll always be making some sort of profit as long as I keep listening to all you people that know your numbers.
You just got to sit down and learn yours. That's what it's about. It's not hard to figure them out, everybody. Like it's a little bit of time investment, but that's the biggest thing, is how do you be profitable until you understand what it costs you to be profitable?
Right. Well, our troubles have been with like my partner is the one that is great with the numbers, but I can't even show. Well, I can now. He's getting better, but at first, he would come up with this number to do. Say, like he'd say $300 for this lady's backsplash, 30 square feet, and I'd be like, okay, and I'd send it in for like $1,000, and so I can't even show him before I send it out because he has just about a heart attack, and then I'll be like, look what we got for that, and he's like, oh my God, they pay. So we both grew up very poor, and so he's still in that mindset of, oh my God, I could never pay that much. But it's like, our kid, they're in $1 million house, Eric. We're not going to work and not make a profit. I'm going to charge those people because they can afford it. And they didn't even, they answer in like 30 seconds. Like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. When can you start? And he's like, holy crap, I can't believe you did that. So it's getting him on board with raising the prices has been actually really fun, because it's neat when you don't absolutely need the work, and when you are debt free, I can send those bids out and I don't have to worry about our bills. We're okay. So I can send it out being like, well, I don't really care. I don't really want to do that backsplash if I can't make
Yes.
money off it.
It's totally, you run a totally different business when you're not, borrowing and stealing your way towards your next paycheck. It's
Absolutely.
when there's some profit in there, it definitely makes things so much easier. And the company has money and you have a little bit of money, and the schedule's 6 weeks out, and you're just, it's not going to happen overnight, folks. It's going to take a minute, but it can be done, and it can be done fairly quickly. But it's
Right. I just build on what I learned from the last thing. Like I talked about in my email to them describing everything we'll do. That's kind of like a copy and paste thing now, because you're always going to say, I'm going to protect the floors and counter. Like, it's just all this stuff, like you say, you change very little in it. And I just kind of, add things as they come up. I've made a price list. So that's one thing about showers. There are so many things to a shower that you can get the homeowner extremely confused. So it's really kind of, you have to decide where you're going to take over and not ask about certain design things in the shower. And you have to know when something might look funky. People have different preferences. So that's kind of a fine line, but I've been able to make a price list of, how much a border is per foot, and how much a niche is, and how much a bench is. And so they get a price list, and that price list helps them understand how many different things are going into this little box that they just thought they were just going to tile it.
Yeah, you're just going to slap some tile in there. It's easy.
Right.
Don't worry about it. It just goes in.
Right. So instead of me asking a zillion questions and getting them anxious about it, they can read the price sheet and be like, oh, I don't know if I want the countertop, the stone to be on the step and on the niche. I don't really know what I want to put there. Should I go with these profiles they're using, and they can kind of, it's kind of like how do you say, a la carte.
Yes.
They can kind of put it together, and they don't have to get a big price for me not expecting it. I'll say, this 3x4 shower, this is the base price. And then and I'm like, I have a little price list that goes with it. So you can kind of see, it explains, that mosaics cost more than 12x24 tile, there's a difference in these sizes, and it clears up a lot of misunderstanding. And I think really educates them at the same time, so that they can feel like they know what's going on a little more than if I just threw a price at them and then just sent them 50 texts, or a text with, a million questions as to, so you want this, and they don't know what you're talking about half the time. So my price sheet, shows what the miter looks like.
Yeah. Okay.
What the stone top looks like versus the profile. There's pictures of each, and, this is what it costs. So that makes it really easy. And me out of the office.
No, I like it. I think that's a great way to do it, because that's essentially, like, I itemize my quotes, and we can get into debating on whether you should put one full price or itemize it. But I don't care if they a la carte me. I don't care if they shop me against the other guy. I'm not the other guy. I know what I want my prices to be. I know what I want to make. If you don't want to choose me because of my price, so be it. But generally, it doesn't come down to price. It comes down to something else. And so if
Right.
I have my carpet removal on there, I have my tile removal on there, I have what it's going to cost to demo the baseboards and put them back up. They tell me they want to demo the carpet and the baseboards. Fine, I'll adjust my pricing. You go do it. Now, granted, I'm going to tell you, if it's not done this way and there's work for me to do, I'm going to have to charge you.
Right.
If you don't complete the work to my satisfaction, then there will be an additional charge. Okay, that's fine. That's fair. That makes sense. But if they want to go and do the work, that's fine because that just means I finish that project sooner. If they're going to demo the
Now,
carpet and it can save me half a day, cool.
now, how many people? Because I know this has happened. How many people were going to do it themselves? Started with like a 5 foot square of carpet and or base, and said, "Never mind, it's all
Mm,
yours."
I don't think that any of my clients that I have like gotten myself have not completed it when they said they would. Everyone's been really
Oh
good.
no.
I even had like this like 80-year-old woman like rip out all the carpet herself, like she and the baseboards. Man, she done went to town.
Oh,
Um,
that's hilarious. Well, they must be harder workers there because every single person that's done it with us, I'm like, no, you could definitely do that. And they call up 2 days later. They're like, yeah, no,
yeah,
let's
you do it.
add that back on.
And now I've gotten the call of this is really hard. Can you come do this for us? And I'm like, yes. And I've gotten I go over it with them. I'm like, look, it's not difficult, but you're gonna get your sweat equity in. And so a lot of people will look at like the carpet, right? And my price is 50 cents a square foot, so I make 450 a yard to rip it out. So they'll see that 1,200 square feet of carpet's going to cost them $600 to do it, and they got to go to the dump and get rid of it. And they're just like, it's $600. It's a drop in the bucket. Just take the damn money. Like most people, once they see
Yep.
the like cost, they give up. They don't care anymore because it's insignificant in the total cost, and then they don't have to do it. So I use it. I use it as a selling tool that way. I'm like, look, it's 1/5 of your, or it's not even that. It's 5% of your overall budget. Like, big deal. Like, just pay me to do it, and then you don't have to worry about it. And they're like,
Yeah,
oh, okay, yeah,
exactly.
that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, I really think though that I mean, to each their own with people that say that's my price and that's what I give and da da da. But I think that there is a lot of upselling that they are kind of leaving on the table. I think there's meat on the bone when you just decide what the people want and let it go with that. I mean, it's probably a little bit different for tile because like a shower, not a tile
Hmm.
floor,
Hmm.
because there's so many parts and pieces and so many things to upsell. But if you don't tell people, like if people don't even know what profiles are, so if I don't list that as an option for them, I could be shooting myself in the foot. They're super easy, and you could charge as much as you would charge for a miter, which is a fraction of the time. It just is super clean and pretty darn easy, but they don't know that. It's an upsell when it's not even
Hmm.
really fancier.
No, I
So
agree.
why would I not list it my prices and stuff and let them pick and choose? Because when people, it's just like your kids' school pictures, right? If you look at the packages and you're like, that package sucks and it's $40, or I can get the magnet for grandma and grandpa and build my own thing and it's only 50. It's only $5 more. You always spend more when you do the a la carte, it seems.
Correct. And I get the same
Always.
thing with, yes, I get the same thing with my staircases all the time. So like skirting isn't a huge thing out here. They just straight drywall the stairs. There's nothing fancy, right? And so I've learned to fabricate the skirting, and then I install that. So that's
Right. They don't
that's an
they don't
upsell
think
for
of it.
me. Well, it's not it's something they see down here. And so when you start
Right.
offering all these transplants that they can have these beautiful looking stairs with the white risers and the white skirting on the sides, they're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So it's a great upsell for me because it's like a day's worth of labor. And I'm like, here you go. I got to provide the materials. I got to do the labor. Like it's a great upsell. And then I've learned to do, I'm starting to try to do like borders and designs on landings with click together LVP. So, I'm shaving off locks and gluing this stuff down and making designs. And that's a total upsell, but it gets me creative. It lets me enjoy what I'm doing, but it also nets me more profit than just being the boring guy that straight lays the landing and moves on. And that's essentially what you're doing with the showers too, is you're like, look, here's some examples, here's some Pinterest pictures, like tell me what you like, what you don't like. Here's the price list so that you can see like, okay, if base is going to be 2 grand and then each little thing is going to add on X amount of dollars, like if you make it a $10,000 shower, it's on you. You chose the $10,000 shower. You put all the options together. And that's essentially
Uh,
what, I tell people, like stairs are $3,500 to $5,000 usually. It depends on a bunch of options that we can go over. Here's a base
right.
set. Here's the pretty set. Well, I really like that one. Okay, well then you're looking closer to $5,000, like end of story. But you chose it, so don't be freaked out by the cost.
Right. And there's a certain level of trust in that too, because say I give a price and that is the base price, and then they're like, "Oh, I would really like a border in this." And I'm like, "Okay, that's 500 more dollars." And they're like, "Okay." And then they come in, the next day and they're like, "I really do want a bench." Okay, and then even though they're adding to it, change orders can make people feel like you're taking advantage of them sometimes, like trying to nickel and dime them. Like but when they have that list and they've chosen it from the start, or at least seen that list, and you're sticking to those prices, they kind of, there's just more trust there, I feel like.
Oh, I think so. When they
They
know
know,
there's options and they understand that they can change it, but there's going to be a cost, but they've known it all along. It's not that you're trying to
right,
like, you're never nickel and diming anybody, I don't think. That's the nature of our business, is that there's a lot of options and options cost money. And so I have to be able to lay them out, and then you can choose them. And if you want to make changes down the road, that's fine, but it can't stay the same cost. There's additional work and materials needed to accomplish it. But it's all communication.
absolutely. Absolutely. It's funny how we all do things even opposite ways with bidding and, vetting people on the phone. And I just tried, I think it's Mr. Rob Olson. He said something that was awesome a couple weeks ago. He said, I mimic what they do. Like, it was so easy for him. Like, I don't know, if they want to text me, I'm gonna text them. I'm not gonna force them into calling. If it's an old lady ringing me on the phone, I'm talking to her on the phone. If she wants to hit my email, we'll do it that way.
Yeah.
And I think mirroring, what's comfortable for your customer is huge.
I agree. You got to meet them where they're at, but you have to understand that there's going to be limitations to some forms of communication. And if you have to get an idea across clearly to convey it, if you got to pick up the phone, ask to pick up the phone. Like, it's,
Yep.
you got to get permission. You can't just call them out of the blue because they provided you a phone number. You got to schedule that call and say, "Hey, I'd really love to talk to you about this," as I think we'll be able to get a more clear picture of what's going on. I just had it happen with a lady like 2 weeks ago, or like last weekend. And she's building a home. She has a bunch of tile installed in it. And I was like, "Hey, this is what you're looking at if you're going to want to rip all that out and put new stuff in." She was like, "That's a lot." And I was like, "Hold on." I was like, can we do a phone call? I think we're like, I think there's some little miscommunication here. And I was like, "I just want to clarify the scope of the project and what you're really looking to do." And then once we got on the phone and I was able to start explaining what I was seeing and hearing and what she was telling me, like, we were able to get on the same page, and we were able to break the project down 2 different ways. And she was like, "Okay, that makes sense why you came up with that number. And I can see why you would be able to do it cheaper this way, but I don't like that solution." So you're right. You need to meet people where they're comfortable, but at some point, like, text communication is not always the best.
No, I find it works best for the people that already know what they want. That customer that, it is a fairly straightforward project. They know what they want. They've already picked out their tile choice. They don't need much hand holding. Those are my favorite customers. Like,
Or they've
when
been
can
through
you
it before,
start?
right?
Yeah. Do you need a deposit? When do you need the deposit? When are you going to stop by? Like, we showed up to do a backsplash a week ago, and the first time I ever heard the lady's voice or met her in person was the day we started. And she was great. It was so easy. She's like, "Do you want to order the tile or should I?" I'm like, "I will."
Yeah, you will. You order that
I will.
tile. Yep.
I will. She's like, "Oh, that's so nice of you." I'm like, "Yeah, oh, yeah. We're full service here."
I got to make a little money on that too,
Damn right.
That's,
Absolutely.
yes, good for you. Good for you. Oh, Katie, good talk. I love it. There's so much in there, right?
Did I do all right?
Sure, why not? They're all good. There's something in every one of them, and it's not even like, the best part is honestly we were so all over the place on this that there's going to be something for everybody, and it's just a matter of finding that nugget for you. And it's the I wish I could stand listening to my own voice and go back and listen, because there's so many nuggets that I'm missing, because I pick something out of all of them as I go through and record them and interview everybody. But we change, we evolve, we need to hear different things at different times. And so how much could I gain by going back and listening to everything? And I know people that have gone and listened to episodes over and over again, and they've told me that they get something different out of it each time. So,
Oh, absolutely.
it's a beautiful thing. It's a free education source that's there for you all day, every day, 24 hours a day, and all you got to do is put on your headphones and get to work and listen, and you're going to get something out of it.
Oh, it's definitely helped me a lot, for sure, listening to podcasts while I'm working. I actually focus better, not hearing everybody's random comments, and especially on job sites and stuff. It's a lot easier for me to stay focused just having something in my ears. Plus, people tend to leave you alone.
Yes, that's why I do it. I don't want
just point at your earbuds like, I can't hear you. Turn back around.
The best thing is my earbuds are earplugs. I really can't hear you. Like, I have to take them out and stop the music or the podcast or whatever and be like, huh? Like, I have no idea what you just said for the past minute to me. Like, please, what?
Exactly.
It's even worse when the clients show up unexpectedly, though. Like, they're like, yeah, it's vacant. Just go do your work. And then you turn around and there's this person watching. You're like, oh my God, I could be dead right now. I have had some scares. Oh, man. So, no, I think I love the conversation, right? Like, we all have struggles. We have parts of our lives that make us who we are as we move forward and grow. I don't think there's ever a reason to regret anything. We need to embrace who we are, learn from it, become better. We need to be open to learning, and then we take what we learn, we adapt it to us, and we try and build something successful. I think that sums up what we got going on here.
Builds grit. People need more grit. I think struggle is good for you in the big picture.
So you're saying that we shouldn't give kids at college corners to go cry in?
Oh my goodness, I don't know. Ask my kids who have been flooring since they were 9 years old. As they pay for their own hockey and lacrosse and stuff, you should probably ask them.
Good for them. Good parenting. Congratulations. And hockey and lacrosse are going to be expensive, so even better on you.
Yeah, I mean, well, how else will they really appreciate what they have more? And plus, it's a double bonus for parents. I try to tell parents this all the time. They also, when they want something, they're also paying for their own stuff. Like, so you're getting help at work. And when they want new shoes or something, these fancy Jordans, they're not coming to you with this knowing that you're going to be like, yeah, right, where are the $60 ones?
Yeah.
They're just like, I'll pay the difference. So then they have money to get what they want, and they're not, whining to you about all the fancy stuff that all the other kids have. Like, oh, I guess you should go to work with us next weekend.
That's amazing. That's great parenting. I love it. Awesome.
I hope so.
Where do if people want to learn more on how to get slave labor, where do they reach out to you?
I'm on Facebook, Maine Modern Tile. My handle personally is Katie Sue. We have MaineModernTile.com. As we discussed before the call, I have a little bit of phonophobia. So if anybody would like to chat or anything with me, my cell is 595-0495, but I am a way better texter than a phone call person.
You did great. We've been on the phone. Oh my goodness. Here. You've been on the phone with me for an hour and 52 minutes at this point. Congratulations. You've did it. You did it.
That's my longest phone call besides my grandma, I think.
Well, I feel very special then. But hey, I didn't hurt you, right? It was good. It was just a conversation.
No, like Eric said, he's like, you'll be fine. As long as somebody's going to let you talk, you'll be fine.
Well, it's about something you generally enjoy too. That's what everybody misses. They get nervous right before you were nervous before you started. And I was like, no, we'll talk. We'll be fine. We're gonna be good. It'll be great. So anybody that doesn't think they'll do well getting interviewed and you feel you have a great topic, reach out. We will set something up. It's just two floor people talking about floors. It's fun. So
Hey, you do a great job. You really make it easier for people.
thank
You've
you.
got good questions and keep it rolling nicely. Herding cats
Oh,
sometimes I think is what it's like, but you do a great job.
there's some difficult situations, but we make it work. We get to where we're going in the end. So awesome. Thank you, Katie. I very much appreciate it. I'm sure we will chat in the future, and we will get this one out there and let everyone hear what we have to say.
All right. Thanks for having me, buddy.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
That's all the time we have for this week. To keep the conversation going, head on over to the Floor Academy Facebook group. Be sure to subscribe so you can hear each and every episode. We can be found on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and most major podcast directories. Don't forget to leave a review and let us know what you think about the show. If you would like to be a guest, have questions or feedback, you can email us at flooracademypodcast@gmail.com. You can help support the show by becoming a patron over at www.patreon.com/flooracademy. Remember to learn while you earn.